Hello, let's take a look at the Stalwarts. They are one of the best units in the game right now due to their tankiness and the damage output. You can unlock them in Season 4 challenges or in the newly introduced Unit 3. They have only two skills, the Brace and Advance. Brace is what you use the most because it gives you a lot of bonuses. The Advance, in theory, it allows you to advance forward, but in practice you don't really want to use it because you lose the bonuses from the Brace. So Advance is more about putting them in a more dense formation. So let's take a look at the Veterancy. The bottom line focuses on Advance, which you don't really want, so you should go with the top line, which allow your Stalwarts to attack one more target and increase their defenses. I mentioned that the Brace has a lot of bonuses, so let's go through them. Firstly, they have 30% damage reduction when they are braced, and when they get hit, they get even more damage reduction and bonus damage. Brace is particularly effective against charging enemies because it has bonus based on their speed, just like the polearms. Additionally, if you hit them and they block your attack, they heal for 9% of their max HP over 2 seconds. And with the mastery, they get even more damage from their brace, and they get some CC against units. They daze enemy units, and every few hits they knock them back. As for the doctrines, I think both damage and defense doctrines are viable. Going full tank is not mandatory because of their passive damage reductions. Increasing their block also isn't that important considering how easy it is to break it nowadays. For example, with Flame Shackle set. In general, just go with the best doctrines you have, be it defense or offense. Most of the defense doctrines have pros and cons. They are either situational or the effect isn't as strong, but it's permanent, so you know. For example, the block broken damage reduction is very good when you get block broken, or rear damage reduction when you get hit in the rear, but if you don't, they don't do anything. Noble Blood works all the time, but the effect isn't as strong as with the previous ones. So basically, I think just fit your playstyle. Currently, I'm experimenting with full damage build. There is not too many options. You have the Stalwarts Doctrine, which increases their brace damage, which is pretty good, hero damage, unit damage, piercing damage, and piercing penetration. Note that they have pretty low penetration, so I think focusing on it is pretty good. If you want to use leadership, which I recommend, then swap it with the piercing damage. For the tank build, I use the Steadfast Doctrine, which increases all defenses and reduces damage taken. Veterancy Doctrine for the reduced damage taken when block is broken. The Leadership, the Stalwarts Brace Doctrine, and the Block Doctrine, which increases block but also reduces damage taken. But as I said, you can't really go wrong with these defense doctrines, just use what you have. I would like to also mention the CC Immunity Doctrine. When cavalry charges you, it pushes you back before you can attack. And with CC Immunity, you can stay braced and actually kill the cavalry which is going at you. So it's very useful in this specific situation, but it requires you to use this doctrine at a good time, because it's only 2.5 seconds and 1 minute cooldown. Stalwarts used to share Unit 3 bonuses with Spear Sergeants, but it's no longer the case. Now they have their own Unit 3 bonuses, where you can increase their piercing armor penetration, which is very good, and give them additional damage versus cavalry. Okay, so let's see how their skills look in practice. Most of the time you want to use them in the second formation because it's pretty dense and it allows you to focus your damage. You want to keep them in brace all the time to get all the bonuses, and notice that it has some cooldown, so you can reposition them like turn or something, but note that you have few seconds, so don't unbrace them too quickly. There are also a few tricks you can do with the formation, because if, for example, I switch them to the third one and instantly press brace, they will just turn, just like they wanted to be in the formation, but they won't move. So using this trick, you can put them in some not so obvious formation. For example, if you go from the line and press F3 and then press 1, they have line but they point in all directions. So it can be good in specific circumstances. For example, you have specific path which you want to block. So you can experiment with this to put them in formation which is more fitting for a situation. I mentioned that you can use the advance to put them in very dense formations. So how it looks is that when you press advance, they just group up and move forward. But when you brace, you have most of them focus all their damage in one spot. So it's very strong when you want to go aggressive. So let me give you an example of how I play them. First thing first, you don't want to go solo. They aren't very good. It's easy to just flank them, hit in the back, and you just want to follow your team. Here I support the phalanx to tank for them while they deal damage at the range. Notice that the Spartans push back my stalwarts, and I messed it up here because I did the advance to put my stalwarts in formation, but they didn't have time to get up, and some of them are just pointing in the wrong direction right there. So it's something to keep in mind so you don't accidentally break them in the wrong direction. By the way, this is a full damage build, even without leadership. Basically all the damage doctrines I could put on them, and as you can see, they tank quite well. They face Stalwarts and Spartans, and it's not like I lost my whole unit, so yeah, there is that. You can see that I use the F2 to move them into the enemy unit and then just brace to burst them down. So basically that's how you want to use them when you just play aggressive, you chase, or you want to get a lot of kills quickly. Alright, there's one more thing I left for the end. Do you know how spear sergeants get armor penetration debuff when they hit enemies? When I was testing Stalwarts, I noticed that they also reduce your damage. And it appears that when they follow you, so when you press C, they also have this armor penetration debuff on attacks. It's very powerful, so I think it's worth trying to wave in some C attacks between braces. For example, you brace them, press C, let them hit once, and then brace again, because this armor penetration debuff is just huge. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a bug, so probably will be patched out, because that's why I left it for the end, but for now it works, so use it, there is that. Alright, and that's all about Stalwarts. As I said in the beginning, they are pretty simple unit, they are just packed with passive bonuses, so it's mostly about knowing what they get when you brace them. Make sure to unlock them if you don't have them yet. For sure your team will thank you for taking them instead of ranged units. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you find this video useful. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next one.